also I'm in love with innovative technology. So what better than the Google Glass that was just released recently. And so the Institute of Medicine states that roughly 400,000 to 800,000 drug-related injuries occur every year, and this is likely to be an understatement. And that means basically that people are getting injured by taking medicine that's supposed to help them, whether it be the right medicine or the wrong medicine. So I'm here to try and help that. There are similar applications out there that are trying to do this as well. Medication Guide by drugs.com, iPharmacy by Sigma, Phone LLC. They're relatively the same. One runs on iOS, the other one runs on Android. And they relatively do the same things. They have a drug search, they have a pill reminder feature, and the most important thing, I believe, is a pill identifier, which essentially you can enter a color or an imprint or dosage into their application, and it will try and give you its best guess with a picture of what drug that you're ingesting or just trying to look up. And so that brings up GlassRx. Actually, it brings up the glass background. Brief background on the glass. It was released by Google in April of 2013. Basic movements on the glass is a simple swipe forward, swipe back, just to move through a timeline that comes across the screen. A swipe down to move back as if you were to hit a back button on the phone. And then to move into any kind of application, you have to say OK glass before it'll listen to anything you say. Moving forward, there's a little bit of privacy concerns behind the glass recently that arose. People taking videos, but you would never know. I could be taking one right now, you would not know that. And so that brought up some Google Glass not allowing these premises. But as of now, January 2015, Google has stopped creating the prototypes for it. But that's just because they're going to redesign the operating system and hopefully fix some of the bugs that I'll present later on. But they remain committed to improving the glass, and it's not done by any means. And hopefully my application will adapt when it comes out again. So what is GlassRx? It is an application based on strictly improving the field of medicine. And to do that, it's trying to identify pill medicine, provide the basic knowledge of any kind of drug, and directions to the nearest hospital with a map. And so how did we accomplish this? With three main features. Prescription pill identifier using a picture, a drug name identifier, taking a picture of a drug name, and a live map with directions to the nearest hospital according to your exact location. Some bit of technical specifications. I developed this in Java, particularly Android, to run on the Glass, because that's what the Glass operating system runs. My IDE environment that I coded in was Eclipse. To pick up the actual word of a drug, I used a Tesseract optical character reader, which I'll discuss later. And then multiple external jar files we needed to run a bunch of other software that I have around that. And finally, the MapQuest software development kit to get maps and routes created. So now, how does each feature work? The pill identification feature works as so. So the user will snap a picture of any kind of pill, and it'll save on the glass. And the user will view it. If it looks clear enough to them, they say, OK, glass, use picture. And what that will do is it'll send off that bitmap picture that is to an ID My Pill API. It's a brief description of what an API is, application programming interface. Basically, a project that someone else has written that makes it available to developers like me, so I can use their library, so I can offload some of my work to them. And so what that library will do is it'll search that library through their images, and using their algorithms will come back with their best guess of what that pill just was. And that's an actual screenshot of the app, which you'll see later. But if you took a picture of this pill right here, that's what you would get back from them. And it's the drug name, the milligrams that they think it is, i.e. dose, and the pharmaceutical corp that you think you got it from. The next feature is the drug name search. So the user will take a picture of any kind of drug name, ideally on blank paper, that's when it works best. But and the optical character reader from Tesseract, which is literally take that picture, convert it to a word, and that's an actual image of the word that you just took. If it's accurate enough, down to at least one letter, you can say, OK, Glass, use image. And using another API that I found, it's called Pillbox API, funded by the government, which is a huge database of just a bunch of pill names. I use that as a main ingredient to query that database, and it'll come back with the pill name again, the dosage, the ingredients, a DEA code if it's a scheduled kind of drug, and an image, which is almost the most important part of that. And then the final feature is the map and hospital route. Using the MapQuest SDK, not the Google Maps API, which I'll get to later, but but the glass runs the software development kit, gets your exact location of a blinking dot, follows you around, but also you can say, okay, glass, show me the nearest hospital route, and right there it'll take you to the nearest hospital to you. So, what did I complete this year? All of that. I don't expect you to read this entire slide, but there's a lot. I realize there's 3 features, but that is all that I had to learn within the last year and implement just to get all this to work. I will discuss the stuff in bold because that was the most difficult task. First off, the toughest tasks were the custom camera class, the optical character reader, the firing post off to the API because I had never done that before, and finally the MapQuest custom route from your location. Specifically, the custom camera class. So ideally, this is actually pretty easy on an Android phone because you can have a callback to your camera in your code, which just takes you to their camera, and you can preview, take a picture, and it comes back. Well, in Glass, when you try and implement their camera, you can't see a preview, and so it just takes a picture as soon as you tap the side of it, and that's it. You can't preview it, which is not good for me, especially users that are like senior citizens and so forth, because you need to get the exact word or the exact pill on that picture. And so I had to implement a custom camera class, and I eventually tried to implement a zoom feature, because believe it or not, Google Glass doesn't have zoom on it. And so that custom camera class required me to actually make 2 different camera objects. One that shows a preview of the actual camera, and one that's actually capturing that preview. So that's an actual screenshot. As far as the zoom feature goes, if you swipe in, it's going to zoom in, swipe back, it's going to zoom out. There's a small flaw with it, but I'll talk about that later. But right now, it captures it. There's no autofocus on the glass either, so that made it a little more difficult. But as of now, it takes pretty clear pictures. The optical character reader, this was a task and a half. I really was reluctant to use Tesseract because it's heavy on your CPU usage because it's actually installed on the glass. But so the other 2 up there are APIs I was trying to use. Both didn't work. One I had to pay for a ridiculous amount. The other one I think they're out of business or something because they didn't get back to me. But in order to get the Tesseract to work, I had to install these 4 libraries that you see up there, and they were all in different locations on the internet. I have no idea why, but I finally installed all those, installed the project, referenced it as a library for my project, and Tesseract was running. So with that, I was able to open a bitmap file, the picture that the user just took, and send it off to an instance of the new test-based API, and simply pass in the bitmap and with the data path and the language, and it would give me back its best recognized text, getting rid of any kind of weird characters that it thought I got without any spaces as well. And so from there, it gave me the word, and it's about 56% of the time accurate, actually. So probably the toughest task, which took me the longest, was actually querying the API with the picture. And so this was the original example that I got from the ID My Pill website. It looks fairly simple. I was like, oh, this is straightforward. I see the API key, I see the image, and I'll send that off to the database. And I was like, okay, that can't be hard enough. Probably took me 2.5 weeks to do because it ended up looking like that, because I needed 4 different libraries to install externally, because I had to actually go in and send off a request with an image attached to it. I had to use something called multi-entity builder, which is simply building my URL together with a bitmap picture and the API key in that exact order, and it has to be in the exact format that they want, otherwise I would just get nothing back. And the stuff that I would get back is a JSON object, and I finally got that back with that image, their example image, with their example API key, and I was able to parse that and get the drug name results. And finally, the last task was the MapQuest custom route. I was going to use Google Maps API because I had used that before, but ironically, Google Maps API is not compatible with Google Glass. I'm not sure why, but that's just the way it works, I guess. And so I had to install the MapQuest SDK, which I was really a little bit reluctant to do because, again, installing that SDK is a little bit CPU intensive, but it actually works. But it's also still in beta, which I'll get to in a second. But the original API key that they gave me to use their MapQuest didn't work, so I just took the one off their website, and that seemed to work fine. But so the current location is very accurate. You'll see in the video demo, and it currently follows the Glass user down to the building that you're in. Moving forward, last week was initial user testing. I had 3 different testers with 3 different tasks to do. They had to identify this pill that I just showed you. They had to get this picture of an image, get it to and then use that and get the drug names back for both of those, and then finally find the nearest hospital to them with their current location. All users accomplished all their tasks very easily. There was very few errors. The only error was the optical character reader misread the drug, I believe, twice on the second user. And then also a little bit of a Google Glass flaw. If you swipe down too many times, it'll swipe you out of the application, just like if you hit back too many times. And so the glass sometimes will lag a little bit, and the user can get impatient. And so they swiped out of the app sometimes, and the screen went black, and they thought it crashed, when really you just exit out of the application. Current challenges and lessons right now. So after getting the example image to work with ID My Pill API, I emailed the CEO of ID My Pill. I was like, hey, I would like to use your API. I just need an API key. I'm ready to do it. Your example image worked. And it turns out it's still in beta, meaning you can only query their API right now with that image and their example API key. And I'm like, how is that possible? Your website says, if you're ready, just fire off your image, we'll send it back. There's nothing about being in beta, nothing about that. And he emailed me back saying, well, it's not ready yet, and if it was ready, it'd be a premium service, so you'd have to pay for it. And I was like, okay, I guess don't believe everything you read online, obviously. But if you go look at this website, it looks like this application is ready to go, and it's ready to use. But ideally, once he rolls this out in scale, and because I finished this feature probably at the end of October of the first semester, and so I've been in contact with Adrian, the CEO, throughout the semester, and I've been keeping, hey, have you finished it yet? Have you finished it yet? And he's like, no, we're still working. We're redoing the whole algorithm. I was like, okay. And then last time I talked to him was beginning of March, and I was like, hey, any progress? He's like, no, but I'll let you know. Then I haven't heard back since. But he's a nice, I don't know if he's lying or not, because ID My Pill has an actual app on the App Store. I haven't used it, so I don't know if it actually works. But I imagine it's using his same API to make it work. So, so that's a little stuck there, but still great progress once it's ready. The optical character reader isn't the most accurate thing in the world, but that's also because there's no zoom on the glass. And so I say there's no zoom, but that's also because I implemented my own zoom. And the only problem with it right now that I still have not figured out is, so when you zoom in, you see the preview, but when you snap the image that you get is up here and not down, and not the actual preview. And I don't know if it's a math thing or if it's just a matter of it's not supposed to work or not. But I could not figure it out for the life of me. And I think that would make the optical character reader more accurate. I'm not sure. But also an autofocus, if Google would have implemented that, would have helped forever. I mean, for this task. And that's just why this glass that was released is actually called the Explorer Edition, and it's called that for a reason. And so, lastly, was the MapQuest SDK. It's in beta for a reason as well, because I can't actually search for general word of hospital in my code and get that location of the closest hospital. So right now, the closest hospital is hard-coded in there. But theoretically, because online you can obviously search hospital in the MapQuest search and they'll give you the closest one. So I assume when they roll out the most stable version, I'll be able to search hospital within the code, and the user will just be able to get the closest hospital to them. So the location will be always accurate, but if you're in, like, I don't know, Seattle, the closest hospital right now is going to be the one down the street from us. I can't do anything about that as of now. So as far as those challenges, I still say Google Glass is on the road. GlassRx is on the road to success. So as I said, I implemented the zoom feature. It would improve the accurate test rack. I need to be able to search for the nearest hospital. But as far as I'm happy with GlassRx. If I were to roll it out today, I'd be very comfortable with the pill search feature and the map as far as I'm concerned. Because right now, there is no actual navigation on Google Glass in itself. It has to hook up to your phone via Bluetooth just to get that information. So now, short demo of all the features.
Okay, Glass. Open GlassRx.
Welcome to GlassRx. Please select a feature.
Okay, Glass.
Sorry about the sound. I had to get it all lined up.
Identify a pill. Okay, Glass. Use image.
The glass actually doesn't lag as much.
This is similar to Odium 160 milligrams now. Novartis Pharmaceuticals formula.
Okay, Glass. Search drug by name. Okay, Glass. Use image.
Use this name to search.
Okay, Glass. Okay, Glass. Use pill name.
Estazole 1 mg oral tablet.
Okay, Glass. View map.
Your current location.
You can zoom in and zoom out is what I'm doing right now.
Okay, Glass. Show nearest hospital route.
Your current location.
So the reason why it was lagging so much is I was mirroring the glass onto the computer that I was using, and that's the only way I could get it to work. And so on top of that, I'd like to thank my capstone advisor, Professor Koja, Professor Ryan, who taught me the foundations of Android, Professor Williams, my academic advisor, and my testers, Jacob, Kelsey, Evan, and Alex. Thank you.
Oh, you go. Oh, there you go. I Thank you, sir. What was your favorite part about this research?
I would say learning the glass. That probably took me the longest. Just to get my own custom application open probably took me 3 to 5 weeks of research because I had to go through a custom voice recognition, and then on top of that, just getting the lady to say, hey, please select a feature was a whole other process in itself. But ideally, my favorite part was using a piece of technology that is ideally the future.
Can you put this app in the App Store right now?
Right now, if I were to roll it out, I would not include the identify a pill feature and the show nearest hospital feature right now because they're still in beta. But I would be more than willing to put the search drug by name and view map feature out there. I think that would be useful in itself, along with the zoom feature, because you can just zoom in. It's almost like binoculars. It's kind of cool. But yes, I'd be willing to release it on the App Store. But right now, obviously, Glass is under development, and you can't put any Glass apps out there currently. Yes.
When Glass comes back out new and improved, are you going to have any compatibility issues, you think?
I mean, there's always compatibility issues.
Yeah.
It's software. So, but ideally, if it's running Android and Java, it should run relatively the same. I imagine the camera classes might change, or it's possible that the MapQuest SDK might not be compatible for it. It's hard to say. I'd be guessing at this point whether it does or not. Yes.
Are you planning on finishing this? Like, and getting it all perfected and getting all your issues out?
Well, I'm playing the waiting game with most of this right now, whether Adrian comes out with that API or not, and on top of that, whether MapQuest comes out with it. So the only thing that I could do right now to make is get the Zoom feature to work, which I'm still working on. In fact, I was working on it still last week, trying to maybe finalize it right beforehand, but just couldn't get it. I'm still not sure what's wrong with it. Ideally, I would like to finish it. Yeah.
Suppose this all works out. Suppose you do get the API you need, and you do get the Google Glass comes back, and you do get on there. What would you do to make sure that it always stays up to date?
That's the beauty of it, honestly, because I wouldn't have to do it. Because the third-party APIs are going to update for their own services themselves. So obviously, I'm going to be using their API, and their APIs are going to update whether I control it or not. And so they're going to get the new drugs in, they're going to get the new images in, and they're going to improve the algorithm. So I'm only going to benefit from it, because that's the benefit of a third-party proprietary API. Yes, Chris.
So since you've been implementing a Zoom feature for Glass, and it seems like no one else really has it, are you going to release that as some sort of open source software so other Google Glass developers can have access to it?
I mean, I could put it on GitHub, but there's one similar to that on GitHub, but his doesn't work at all. Mine works better than his, at least right now. But ideally, if I were to put it on GitHub, hopefully someone could help me out and make the correction. Because all it is really, if I were to show you, is the preview is, I'm not keen probably here, and then the image is capturing is up here, probably like the exact preview length of the box. So it's either, I'm not sure what it is. I don't think it's a math issue because I've checked that quite a few times. So at this point, I'm kind of out of options, and I've asked Stack Overflow, but I haven't had any like real answers back yet. Yes.
So it sounds like you've had a little bit of trouble with the character recognition. Have you thought about using built-in voice recognition in Google Glass so that you would just spell the word or say the word of the drug and have it search on that?
I could actually do that. That wouldn't be that hard. Well, it would be. I put that down. It would be hard for most people. I'm not gonna lie. But that could be implemented probably within a month, honestly, because I've got the voice recognition down. But as far as the only part that would be difficult is all the OK Glass, and you see the features list is programmed into an XML file that's already like looking for the closest thing. So I'd have to somehow figure out on the fly or dynamically to get, they're saying A, B, C, and then essentially go along with it until they say, okay, well, I'm done. But that's a very good idea, actually.
Job, Troy.